Are you or a loved one disabled? Do you feel alone, lost, and confused as to how to win your Social Security case? If you're watching this video, it's probably because you have so many questions and you're desperately looking for the answers. Hi, my name is Avi Leibovic, and I'm the owner at Benefits for All and the lead attorney at Avi Leibovic Associates. Over the course of my 20-year career, I've overseen the processing and screening of over 500,000 disability cases, working with the largest hospitals, neighborhood clinics, primary care physicians, and even individuals who had no access to care at all. My strategies for how to win the case have made me one of the top experts in Social Security law in the entire nation. My life and my career were going great. And then one day it all came crashing down. It started first with some abdominal pains. And before I knew it, I'd been admitted to the hospital several times and I required multiple surgeries. I found myself unable to work and disabled and in desperate need of my own benefits. I understand exactly how you feel. I was in your shoes. And I'm going to take you through the process and help you and give you everything that I know so that you can win your case. I'm recovered and I'm back at work. And I have a newfound passion for helping disabled people because I myself have been there too. Call our office today for a free screening and to see how we can help you with your Social Security case. At the same time, enjoy these videos and webinars that we've prepared to you to help you understand how to win your Social Security case. Hi everyone, this is Avi Leibovic and you're watching another amazing webinar brought to you by Benefits for All, where we teach you how to win your Social Security case without having to pay the cost of an expensive attorney. It's like a dream come true for me. I'm going to tell you why. I'm standing in Dodge City, Kansas, right? For a little boy who used to grow up watching Westerns, you can't ask for more, right? I'm standing right in the heart, right off of Main Street of Dodge City, right? You know the famous saying, gotta get out of Dodge. And I'm standing in front of a famous statue of Wyatt Earp. Now everyone knows about Wyatt Earp. I'm gonna go ahead and read a little bit over here about Wyatt Earp for you quickly. And I wanted to all let you know that the topic for today, and the reason I picked this location to film, is because Wyatt Earp obviously was a famous marshal. He was a famous lawman. We're gonna talk about him for half a second. But the topic for today is directly related to Wyatt Earp because we're gonna talk about open warrants, or someone who's on parole, or someone who's in violation of probation, and what impact that has on a Social Security disability application. Okay, but let's first talk about Wyatt Earp. Again, since I'm a little boy, I think every boy at some point in his life, and possibly girls, right? They're not discriminating. When they're dressing up maybe for Halloween or for some other costume party, at some point or another, every kid wants to dress up like a cowboy, right? I mean, what little kid doesn't want to have the guns and the hat and the cool sheriff pin, right? It's amazing. And you grow up and you watch Jesse James, and you go and you watch all these other things about Billy the Kid, and you hear about Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday and all these different people, and you know what? Here I am, right? The kid from California, the guy from New York, the person from the two separate sides of the country is standing here in Dodge City where all of that went down. It's unbelievable. So let's talk a little bit about Wyatt Earp for half a second. His full name was Wyatt Berry Strap Earp, right? And just so everyone knows, he ended up living till about 80 years old. He didn't get killed. Now, what was he known for? He was known as a gambler. He was known as a buffalo hunter. He owned a saloon. He was a miner. He was a boxing referee. It says he even owned and operated a brothel at one point and eventually became a lawman. Why would they take such a dangerous guy and make him a lawman? Because he had to go ahead and he had to chase the biggest criminals out there. So you got to take a guy who's rough and tough, a guy who's not afraid of anyone and who himself might have been a criminal at one point, and you got to make him the sheriff or the marshal. And there's famous stories about the OK Corral. Almost everyone's heard about the famous shoot at the OK Corral and what happened over there and the outlaws that were killed. And you know what? He was there. What do you think of that mustache? Should I grow my mustache like that? Okay, let's get to the topic. Once again, my name is Avi Leibovic, you've downloaded a webinar because you're interested in applying for Social Security benefits, whether it's SSI or whether it's SSDI. And for those of you who've been paying attention at the webinars, you know that SSI, or Title 16, stands for Social Security Supplemental Security Income. And you also know that SSDI stands for Social Security Disability Insurance and is often called Title II. So you have Title 16 and Title II. Title 16 again is the SSI. Title II is the SSDI. Some of you will be eligible for SSI, others of you will be eligible for SSDI, and some of you, a few of you, may actually even be eligible for both SSI and SSDI. So the question becomes, now that you've downloaded the webinars, now that you've learned that there's an application and a reconsideration, and then a request for a hearing before an ALJ, now that you've taken the time to learn about all the different forms and how to fill them out and where to submit them, now that you're excited, that you think that you can do it, and even though you're not feeling great, you're saying, you know what, I can do this. I don't need to pay for an expensive attorney. I don't need to pay 25% or $6,000, whichever is less, based on a fee agreement that an attorney's gonna get for me. I think that I can handle this on my own. But there's one problem. There's one problem. The problem is, for whatever different reason, since we're in Dodge City, I'm gonna say it, you got a problem with the law. You got a problem with the law. The law wants you. Who, what, when, why, where, the circumstances, I don't know them. I don't need to know them. It was your fault. It wasn't your fault. You were minding your own business. You weren't bothering anyone. It's a mistake. It wasn't me, I swear, right? All the famous lines. It doesn't matter to me. What matters to me right now is to teach you how we handle an SSI case or application or an SSDI case or application when there's an outstanding warrant for you, when you're in violation of your parole, where perhaps you're what they call a fleeing felon, you're wanted somewhere in this country for something, right? So how do we deal with that? So let's go ahead, and I want to reference something here, which I've done in a couple of the webinars. Some of you may or may not realize that there is something called the POMs. What are the POMs? And I'm going to read it off over here, that's why I have it over here. The POMs are what's called the Program Operations Manual Systems. Those are the rules and regulations that the offices of the Social Security, the district office or the ODARs, need to follow. Well, really, the ODARs follow the HALEX rules, but the district offices are all following the POMs. Okay, and if you need to look this up, you can either go on SSA.gov, and in the search bar you can put the following number in, or you can just go to Google or Bing or any other search engine you want, and you can put in the following words: SSA, POMs, P like Paul, O like Orange, M like Mary, S like Sam, POMs. And then here's the number. It starts with 2 letters, SI, like super, and I is India, SI 00530.001. One more time, 00530.001. So let's talk about exactly what you need to know, and again, I'm gonna reference some of my notes over here. The bottom line is like this. There are so many people that I've met over my career, right? You have to remember, I've told you in different webinars, I've had the privilege to represent over 100,000 claimants in my experience. And I have to tell you, when you represent over 100,000 claimants, that's right, 100,000, you heard correctly, it's not an exaggeration. I've worked with multiple counties in California, I've worked with multiple hospitals, and what you are getting through this video is you are getting everything that I know. All of my experience, all of my expertise, all of my knowledge, I'm giving it over to you. So in the course of representing all of these people over all these years, sometimes it breaks my heart because I meet people who want to qualify and they are so sick. They are definitely disabled, whether it's cancer or whether it's something related to their heart or whether it's a mental health problem or whether it's something with their back or their knees or whatever their problem is. They definitely are eligible, but they have a big problem, and maybe you have the same problem. The problem is that somewhere along the way, like I just said, they have an open warrant for their arrest. Or they were on probation and somehow they violated the terms of their probation. Again, they have a court order asking them to come and show up in a certain jurisdiction to stand before the judge and figure out what's going on. Or, again, they're a fleeing felon, right? There's a problem over there, so what do we do about that? Okay, so I have some bad news. Because again, my goal is to help you win. My goal is to help you get approved as quickly and as effortlessly as possible. And the bad news is what? The bad news is that as long as you have an open warrant, as long as you are in violation of your parole, as long as you are wanted in some jurisdiction, in some county, in some state, for anything, right? Anything, you are not eligible for SSI. you are not eligible. It doesn't matter how sick you are not eligible. For a period of time, you might have been eligible for Title II, SSDI. But the laws changed a couple years ago, and now, not only are you not eligible for SSI, Title 16, you're also not eligible for SSDI, Title II. So whichever way you go, you have problems. And the only way you're going to be eligible, and the only way you're going to get your money and your Medicaid, if it's filing for SSI, and potentially eventually your Medicare if you're filing for SSDI, is if you go and you take ownership of whatever the situation is, and you go to the court, and you go before the judge, and you figure out what you need to do to either A, fulfill your requirement with the court, which might mean perhaps some minimal jail time, or I don't know, maybe it's more than minimal, or option B, if there is an error, if there is something that's wrong, you go and you clear it up. You work with the judge to quote unquote clear your name, clear your record. Only once your record is clear, only once the court orders for your arrest or for your presence in a court or for whatever it is, only once that is clarified and cleared up will you be eligible again to receive your benefits. As we go ahead and we look at the POMS SI 00530.001, we see, and I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to read one or two things. It says that the change in the law, it used to be original from 1996. It used to be that only was SSI, and it wasn't until 2005 that Social Security went ahead and included Title II, which is what I talked about. So now both of them, even if you are applying, like that was the example we gave, if you're applying, you may get approved, but they're not going to effectuate payments, right? They're not going to pay you. Or alternatively, option two is maybe you were already receiving your SSI checks. You are already qualified. You've been receiving them for years. But then something happens along the way where you get in trouble, whatever it is. It could even be that you don't pay alimony. It could even be you're not paying child support, whatever it is, and a court order is issued for you. So now it's no longer a question of applying for the first time and getting benefits. It's a question of you're already getting the benefits, and they're going to stop them. As soon as Social Security finds out about it, they're going to stop them. Now, in 2005, they did give some good cause exceptions in order to go ahead and to continue paying in certain situations. Now, if you go ahead and you look at POMS SI 00530.0015, you can go ahead and you can look at those exceptions. Let's look at those together and let's see what some of those have to say. I think that if we go ahead and we take a look at that, some of the good cause exceptions may be eligible for some, may be applicable to some of you guys. And I think that that's something that everyone should be aware of in terms of understanding how that works. So there's different ways in terms, first of all, the source of reporting that the Social Security Administration is going to go ahead and they're going to verify whether or not you even have a warrant out for your arrest. There's something called a first party report, which could either be issued by maybe an authorized representative. If you have an attorney who tells Social Security that you have a warrant out, it might be a guardian, it might be a beneficiary or a representative payee. There might also be a paper that comes in either a letter or a telephone call or a fax that comes into Social Security, or even through the face-to-face interview. You have to remember that before you get approved, you have to have some face-to-face interviews, and you may disclose that to the district office, and you may explain what's going on. Now, whether you explain it to the field office, the district office, whether you explain it to the processing center that pays you, or whether you explain it to the ODAR, all of those individual entities, the sections, the district office, the ODAR, and the payment centers, all have the ability on their own to go ahead and to effectuate the stop or the cessation of your payments. You have to understand too that in many cases, this information may come to them according to, again, POMS, this one's GN 02613.150. If they find out through a media report, maybe a newspaper, if there's a neighbor who calls them, if there's a law enforcement that contacts them, right, they can also find out for that. But usually they're going to go ahead and they're going to find all this information out when they run your name. Now, we were talking about good causes over here, so let's go back into the good causes and let's determine whether or not we can go ahead and we can work around this. And again, I'm going ahead and I'm referencing my notes. The notes are a little bit easier sometimes to read at nighttime as opposed to a piece of paper, so I hope that you'll understand. Let's go ahead again, and the one you want to go ahead and reference for the good cause is SI 00530.015. So let's see what that says over there. First of all, that one makes a reference to a Martinez case. So if you're going in and you have a warrant and now you're going into a district office to talk about presenting a good cause why the warrant should not affect you, the keyword, the buzzword, right? This is why you've downloaded this webinar, so that an attorney like me can give you the right words to say. The key is you're going to say to the office that you are going ahead and you're going to explain what's happening using the Martinez ruling. The Martinez ruling. And what does the Martinez ruling say? It says that Social Security cannot suspend, I'm reading it straight, your SSI payments or withhold any other payments, Title II, if a court has, number one, found that you're not guilty of the crime or offense or probation. Number two, they've dismissed the charges against you. Number three, they vacated the warrant, or they issued any other type of exonerating order, right? Now, those is one way where you can go ahead and you can tell the district office or the ODAR or the payment center how this is being resolved, and then you would follow that up with paperwork to give it to them. But what are the good causes? One good cause is if the criminal offense or the probation violation for which you're charged with, right, was non-violent and non-drug related. So that means you can go ahead, and even though there's a statute that says that your payments have to stop, if you can write a letter to them telling them, hey, it is true that I'm wanted, it is true that I have to resolve this warrant or this order, whatever it is, but you know what? That offense is not drug related, and it was not a violent crime. That is one potential good cause. A second one is that you could say that you were not convicted and you did not plead guilty to any other felonies since that warrant was issued, okay? And then three, the law enforcement agency that issued the warrant reports that it will not extradite the fugitive and is willing to act on the warrant. So that may mean, let's break this down carefully, that when you go ahead and you explain to the Social Security office, hey, you know what, it's true I have something that's unresolved. It's true that there's a warrant out for me, but I want to tell you something. I'm either going to tell it to you verbally and then I'm going to write it in a letter. What you need to understand is that you need to tell them, number one, it was a non-violent, non-drug related crime. Number two, it has to be all three. You were never convicted of any crime other than that one since that time. And number three, you contacted the law enforcement agency or the court, and maybe it's another state, and maybe it's something small. Let's say you had a jaywalking ticket, right? And you didn't pay the jaywalking ticket or something silly like that. And you contact the court, and the court says, well, you still have that ticket, and we've issued a warrant for your arrest, but we're not going to extradite you from another state to come back. And you can get a letter showing that. All three of those are good causes. Another good cause, according to the POMS, is if the criminal offense or the probation parole violation for which you're charged was non-violent and non-drug related. That's number one. Number two, you were not convicted of any other crime since then. Or number three, you lack the mental capacity to resolve a warrant, as evidenced by one of the diagnosis codes in the disability sections over there, right? So if you have someone who's handling your case, a family member, someone who's a representative payee who's handling the money, someone who's taking care of you, a guardian, and you don't have the capability to explain to the court, the mental capacity to explain to the court what happened, your guardian, the person who's caring for you, has the ability to go to the court and explain what happened over there. That's another good cause. And again, you need all three in the letter. Number one, it wasn't drug related and it wasn't violent. Number two, you've received nothing, no other arrests since that time. And then number three is what? Is that you lack the mental capacity to deal with it. So you need to have someone who is helping you with this application, or in general, if you've been already on the program and now it's being suspended, you lack the mental capacity to what? To explain what happened. Now you can request, again, according to this POMS, good cause at any time. And it's not limited by just the judge. You can request it already, the good cause, at the district office, at either the application level or at the reconsideration level. This can only be done within 90 days, according to the POMS. Within 90 days of Social Security finding out what exactly you have an arrest for, what exactly you're wanted for. You have only 90 days from that time from when you receive a letter to go ahead and give it to them. And finally, we said earlier on that that it has to be an official notification, right? That there really is an arrest letter for you, or we said it has to be an official notification, like we said before, that the court is not going to extradite you. So what the Palms is saying here is not enough to just say, well, I called them and I took care of it. You're going to have to get a letter, according to this, that is either on the letterhead of the court or a copy of the court docket. You can get a copy, a screenshot of the court docket that shows that the charges were dismissed. That would work, right? Or if you're able to get a copy of a court decision, that would work. And finally, well, these other issues, there are other ideas here, but I don't want to go too deep into it because I think that what we covered really handles everything that you need. So here we go, my friends. Let's bring it all together so we can wrap it up so that you understand what you need to do. You have two scenarios. Either one, you're applying, or number two, you've been on the program for a while and you're already receiving money. In the course of applying or in the middle of receiving money, Social Security becomes aware that what? You have a warrant, you have something unresolved, you need to take care of it. And what? They tell you that either number one, you're not eligible, or number two, we're stopping the money. The general law is that until you clear it up, for all the different ways that I referenced, so you can go back into the Palms and look it up, until you clear it up, you are not eligible. However, there is a good cause where you could work around it. And that is what I'm here to tell you on how to work around it. I told you, and we learned before, that if you can establish that it's a non-violent, non-drug related crime, if you can establish that you haven't committed any other crimes since that time and no other arrests have been made, and finally, if you can either establish that we said that you don't have the mental capacity to take care of it, or B, it's been dismissed, right? Then you are able to go ahead. Not that it's still standing, but they're not going to extradite you. My apologies. It's still standing, but they're not going to extradite you. So again, the three reasons. If you could show them the good cause that number one, we said it's non-violent and not drug related. Number two, you haven't been arrested since that time. And then number three, either A, they're not going to extradite you from another state, or B, you don't have the mental capacity to explain what happened, then you may qualify for a good cause reason why your Social Security benefits should not be stopped, or they can move forward in processing your application, your recon, your hearing, your approval, and get you paid. And there you have it. You have to resolve the warrant. You have to resolve what's out there, either by going in and taking ownership and doing the jail time or paying the fine or doing whatever it is, or going ahead and using a good cause. Those are your only ways. Otherwise, you're not going to get it. Now, of course, if you don't want to do that and you want to stay on the run, just look at that mustache. If you're not afraid of the legend of Wyatt Earp, if you're not afraid of his tough personality, if you're not afraid of that long gun, look at that long gun, you definitely should be afraid of that mustache. Scary. Anyways, my friends, I'm Avi Leibovic. I'm in Dodge City. I can't wait till the sun comes up. I'm gonna walk down Main Street. I'm gonna go into the old stores. We're gonna shoot some more webinars. We're gonna check out this place inside and out, right? Because again, as a little kid, I grew up, and who doesn't love cowboy movies? Who doesn't love, the idea of outlaws and a shoot at the OK Corral and just all that fun stuff? These webinars are here for you. I'm trying to help you win your case, and I'm trying to help you get approved. You can do it on your own if you watch these webinars and you understand exactly what needs to be done, okay? My name is Avi Leibovic. Go to www.andbenefitsforall.com. I wish you the best of luck, and once again, trust me when I tell you that if you follow these webinars step by step, piece by piece, I will teach you how to win your Social Security disability case without having to pay the cost for an expensive attorney. Until next time, my friends, feel good and watch out for that mustache. In the meantime, I gotta get out of Dodge. I'll see ya.